The report mentioned that the HVAC system at the Tony Rose pool is no longer able to clear noxious gases from the water surface. Do you have any insights into that?
Sort of. They never, so the town did a study in 2017, 2018 season. Um, and I think the study was born of the fact I took a video of our swimmers trying to do a kick set. And when you're kicking, you're splashing your legs in the water. The chloramines that are normally in the first foot or so above the surface of the water that you would breathe in, they get dispersed everywhere. Um, and when the chloramines are bad, and chloramines formed when the chlorine levels are not able to, the chlorine forms with nitrogen in the water, which comes in the form of hair, makeup, dead skin, unfortunately, urine. Is a big contributor. When the pool chemistry is off, you can notice it. And so when you're swimming and you're breathing in deeply, your lungs get sore. It's almost like a burning sensation. And I've had it before when I was swimming in Brampton, city-run pools. It happens. It's unfortunate. It's not something you want. But when you're breathing in deeply, your lungs hurt. They're sore, and we don't really know what the long-term effect of that is. So they did a study, and they had done studies before, but I sent a video of these kids coughing and having to go to the doors at Tony Rose, and they said we couldn't open them, and it's the only way to get any kind of air movement and get that chloramine moving out and get some fresh air in there. So someone came in and did a test. I think there were 2 tests done, and the first one that was done, we weren't even really disrupting the pool very much, and their sensors were hitting alarm levels. They were beeping everywhere. I don't have the results of those studies, but I don't need them, right? I've swam in pools like that. I know how it feels. The proof is in the pudding and how the kids are reacting, taking puffers, taking breaks in the pool, having breathing breaks at the side doors. The town did install a secondary HVAC type system to remove the air from the pool deck, and it did seem to make an improvement. So thanks to the town for doing that, because it was an unsafe training environment for our oldest swimmers. So I removed our oldest, most senior swimmers, the ones who are exerting themselves most, who are breathing deeply, the ones who are bigger, disrupting the pool. And I would say that Tony Rose is still a functional pool now, but you need to use it as a teaching pool. You need to use it for people doing aquafit. You need to use it for little kids learning to swim, floating around in life jackets, blowing bubbles, doing very, very simple strokes. People that are rudimentary skilled level swimmers who are not training and exerting themselves often and trying to compete at an international level, or at least at the highest national levels. I call it a teaching pool, and it's still functional as a teaching pool as it is. When they put the new HVAC system in, one of the strange byproducts of that was it made it very humid, like extremely humid, like you're in a rainforest. And I've been in the rainforest in Malaysia and in Brazil and other places. It was in northern Australia. It was really hot and humid in there. It was uncomfortable, but kids didn't seem to be coughing as often. And that's really the test. If you can have all the tests you want, but if kids can't train there, something's wrong. So we're using it right now for our younger swimmers. We've tried to migrate all of our oldest high intensity training swimmers over to the Alder pool, and the Alder pool has been fine. I understand that the liner has an issue and the HVAC system there is going to need to be replaced. So Tony Rose is functional for us currently. I don't know what the town needs to do in the long run to allow anyone to train in there at a high level. That's hard for me to say. I don't have access to all that information. I know HVAC systems are very costly. I think the town was saying that one system would cost in and around $500,000. That's a very expensive investment for an old pool. So I understand the reluctance to put one in there. If they could build a new pool for $3 million or less, $2.5 million, certainly it would make sense to me to look at replacing the facility completely, as opposed to putting in a brand new HVAC system to run a very old facility that's small change rooms. They don't have easily accessible change rooms for people in wheelchairs or people with physical impairments. So certainly building something new makes sense. I can't tell you, like I said, exactly what's going on with Tony Rose. We still use it. We're going to start using it next week. Luckily for my oldest and fastest swimmers, they're doing the primary training in the Caledon Quarry for the next 5 weeks until school starts. And with Rich at Healthy Results, he's also an otters coach, and I'm going to be doing the teaching. I'm going to be taking a look at the strokes. It doesn't sound like a long time for some people, but 5 months out of the water, you're very likely to develop some bad habits. So I'm going to be doing mostly teaching and reteaching, and we're going to be talking about skill acquisition and reacquisition and just building up slowly in the pool. So Tony Rose will function for us, but I can't have my club functioning out of Tony Rose all season. I'm very concerned if Alder is going to get that stainless steel tank. They'll need until probably January to get everything done. So my oldest, fastest swimmers who are training for Olympic trials in April, I don't know how they're going to react. Like I said, there's a new HVAC system in there, supposedly doing the job. We'll see. My oldest, fastest swimmers haven't been in there for 2 full seasons. So I don't know what it'll be like for someone who's swimming, at the highest national levels. We'll find out, I guess, in September if Alder isn't open. A town's council is supposed to vote on what they will do with respect to fixing Alder, I think, next week, whether they repair the liner or whether they just decide to put in the tank. And again, I'm in favor of putting in that stainless steel tank. It's going to be less maintenance for the town for years to come. So it's a bigger initial investment, but they'll recoup that cost over the years that it operates. It's better in terms of clearing the chloramines. It produces less. It's better for filtration. There are a host of benefits, certainly for everybody. Extra lane space at a better facility. It's more accessible, cleaner air. But they've got to do something with Tony Rose in terms of building a new facility or repurposing the air filtration, doing something, because we can't survive in the 8 tanks. But we'll see how Tony Rose goes for us from a training standpoint for the first part of the season, if that's the way they go. If they redo the liner, then hopefully they make both pools available to us. We still don't have a contract for next season starting in September. I have no clue what pool time is going to be made available to me, and I have to submit a plan to Swim Ontario by August 21st. So I've asked them to let me know as soon as possible. I don't think they're going to know until they decide what they're going to do with Alder. So I don't think I'm going to have an answer for another 5 or 6 days, which means I'm not going to have a lot of time to put forth a plan to Swim Ontario and get it approved so our club can reopen when our next season starts. So that's going to be tough. We'll see.
That's a lot. I mean, like between again, it's just a proposal and a plan right now. But I mean, between what's going on with Alder, the proposed closure of Tony Rose, and then with everything going on with COVID, that's a lot to manage. Jeez.
Yeah, it's not my area of expertise, and I don't mind doing these plans. I'm a very big planner, but the planning I like to do is planning a season. Okay, we're going to go to these meets. These are our focused championship meets. Okay, from there I need to have periods of rest and periods of training that are going to allow our swimmers to perform at their peak at these really, really important times of the year. And typically it's December and in March and in July. And I love doing that. That's a lot of fun. Okay, so how many weeks of training particular energy systems, and then what are we focusing on, and what is our weight training, and all that stuff. I love that kind of planning, actually. But writing a plan about what our COVID protocols are going to be at both pools and getting it approved is time consuming. It's not easy. Swim Ontario is being very thorough in their analysis. I had to do 4 revisions for a plan just to operate for 6 weeks with 1/3 of our competitive swimmers. And if we have both pools available to us come September, I have to write a plan that's going to allow us to use both facilities. So I have to have safety protocols and everything else like that in place. I have to consider how many people are signed up, and not only that, I need to know how many people are going to be involved in our club. And until we have a plan and I know what pool time I have and what programs I can run, we can't even open our registration. So it's kind of a catch-22 where I can't get anything done right now without knowing who's going to be back, what programs I can run, and that's going to be based on the pool time. So it's going to be a very laborious couple of weeks for me from a standpoint of writing our plan. Our plan was 9 or 10 pages just for 6 weeks, included full training programs, and like I said, had to have revisions. So it's going to take some creativity. We might have to use pools when we wouldn't normally in order to get our kids in swimming. We're also going to have to rely on still being able to use the gym. Right? We don't have a weight train. We don't have access to a weight room. It's something we've been asking for, is to have our own weight room. We've been asking to use the fitness room down at Humber, and now that Humber's pulling out of Alder, we're hopeful that the town might allow us to use that. We've been told before they lost a grant that the Saputo area upstairs that they built with that black flooring area where they used for Zumba and the indoor basketball court was going to be a weight room. And certainly that would be ideal for our team training out of Alder primarily, that kids wouldn't have to drive over to trainer games. Trainer games has been fantastic for us. They've been very supportive and allowing our swimmers to be in there. It's not a problem with them in any way at all. Certainly we're lucky to have places like them. We were at Big Time Fitness for a couple of years. We used CrossFit Brontide. We've used other facilities, and certainly we're thankful to those facilities, and we don't want to stop supporting them. It's problematic for parents, right? If they have to drop their kid off at 3:30, pick them up at 5:30, and then drive them over to another location for 5:45 or 6, and then pick them up again at 7. It just means that the parents have a lot more of a commitment, and it makes it harder for them, especially when they have multiple kids. And if they have multiple kids in our club, right, figuring out the carpooling and the driving of kids, and it makes for a very, very hectic evening for families and a very stressful one. And so it just would be ideal for us to have the use of a facility. So we don't know what we're going to do yet. I'm very eager, as you could probably tell, to get that plan underway, because the first thing is figuring out what programs I can offer and how I can make that work in a combination of pools. If it's Alder and Tony Rose, great, that's what we want. If it's just Tony Rose, that'll be much more difficult. If it's Tony Rose for 3 months, okay, we could make that work. If it's just Alder and Tony Rose is closed, that's a disaster. We're looking at other municipalities to see if we can get some pool time there. So again, lots of unanswered questions right now, and needing a plan in 16 days to be submitted is wearing on me a little bit, I guess.
Wow.